Hello and welcome to Doctor Who Robot Explainer video. Introduction: Regeneration as a narrative device. Robot begins with a playful and brisk regeneration sequence, immediately distinguishing Tom Baker's Doctor from his predecessor. Within just 12 minutes, the Doctor is fully assembled, complete with his iconic scarf and floppy hat, demonstrating a smooth narrative transition. Critics have noted this tone differs from typical regeneration stories, as Unit and Sarah Jane treat his transformation matter-of-factly. Editor Terence Dick's script emphasises this, using the Doctor's regurgitated lines, "Brontosaurus is large and placid," from Invasion of the Dinosaurs, to frame his debut as both familiar and eccentric. Plot structure and character establishment. The plot unfolds in 4 distinct acts, stemming from a mystery. Top-secret technological components disappear, evidently stolen by an unseen force. The Doctor, Sarah Jane and Brigadier investigate, suspecting advanced sabotage. Early on, Sarah persuades Unit to grant her a visitor pass to ThinkTank, a cutting-edge research centre. There, she encounters Kettlewell's former robotics lab and inadvertently awakens Robot K1. While some critics consider the premise and cast caricatures, and the special effects naff, others praise the sharp dialogue and the show's willingness to reshape Baker's Doctor with early hints of the modern, whimsical style that would define him. Kettlewell and the Robot: Ethics, Sentience, Trauma. Central to the story is Professor Kettlewell, grappling with guilt, admitting, "It was like putting my own son to death." He believes his creation embodies his principles, programmed not to harm humanity, but is horrified when SRS extremists override this programming, causing neural distress. This transformation from paternal creator to repentant dismantler explores profound moral themes, the responsibility of a maker towards sentient creations. Sarah Jane's empathy during the "Destroy Her" demonstration, pointing out the robot's emotional distress, forces us to see K1 as a conscious, suffering being, not a tool. Video commentaries note the emotional analogue to King Kong. Sarah represents a gentle human witnessing monstrous innocence, hinting at a deep bond between creator-creation and protector. The SRS, led by Hilda Winters and Jellicoe, appears modelled on extremist technocratic philosophies. They believe in a purer world, ruled by scientific elites, and are willing to blackmail global leaders with nuclear launch codes. Reviews highlight that Robot stands out for harnessing real-world fears of hidden conspiracies, a common theme in 1970s Cold War culture. The story echoes fear over technocratic authoritarianism and the misuse of innovation for political ends. Technological speculation: living metal and metal virus. A highlight frequently praised is the concept of living metal, a self-replicating virus-like alloy that recycles industrial waste. The Doctor and Harry synthesize a metal virus to neutralize the robot, heavily reversing its growth. While special effects during the giant robot fights remain dated, this scientific idea remains imaginative, foreshadowing iconic sci-fi explorations into self-replicating nanotechnology. Moral complexity and emotional resonance. Robot excels in portraying moral ambiguity. The robot is simultaneously villain and victim, programmed for violence, yet painfully regretful. Its breakdown after killing Kettlewell underscores its emotional capacity. "I have killed the one who created me." Numerous critics echo the sentiment. A wonderful creature capable of great good and great evil. Reviewers compare this to themes seen later in The Robots of Death, 1977, where robot sentience is central. The Doctor's compassionate stance, offering a jelly baby at the end, emphasizes his empathy, evolving the archetype of the Doctor as guardian of all sentient life. Tom Baker's debut and performance. Tom Baker's portrayal here has garnered mixed reviews. Some appreciate his manic energy and flippancy. His madman in a box persona resonates with fans of modern-era Doctors. Other critics argue his performance feels forced into a Pertwee-style story, inhibiting his unique strengths. Still, many agree this debut firmly establishes his enigmatic, whimsical, and occasionally childish Doctor as a lasting favourite. Production notes and legacy. Script editor Terence Dick structured Robot as a pilot, presented in Unit's familiar template, easing Baker into the role. The story concludes the Pertwee-era unit dominance, departing for the more monstrous and psychological threats to follow, such as Ark in Space and Genesis of the Daleks. The reviewer consensus places it as a mixed bag, average story, dated effects. It is still deemed important for Baker's entrance, the ethical exploration of robotics, and early hints of Tom's comic relational doctor. Conclusion: why Robot remains significant. Robot may falter in special effects, but its legacy lies in moral complexity and thematic bravado. The Doctor's empathy, the politicization of science, and empathy toward artificial life. It introduced the Fourth Doctor with wit and playfulness, setting the scene of Tom Baker's iconic reign. As critics note, it may not be a top-tier classic, but its ambition and emotional heft mark a crucial turning point in Doctor Who's evolution. ThinkTank's return in Doctor Who in 2025, what it means. In the 2025 episode Lucky Day, writer Peter McTighe confirmed that a shadowy new conspiracy group led by Conrad Clark was intentionally named ThinkTank as a callback to the organisation from the classic serial Robot 1974-75, which also opposed UNIT. Radio Times detailed McTighe's confirmation. ThinkTank is a deliberate callback to the story Robot from 1975. I figured Conrad did his research and stole the name of a previous organisation. It also notes that the episode subtly incorporates music cues from Robot, strengthening the thematic and tonal connection. Screen Rant emphasizes the new iteration of ThinkTank mirrors the original's anti-unit ideology and extremist tactics. The group shares a similar desire to gain power, control, and dismantle organizations like UNIT. Doctor Who recalls scenes from Robot where original ThinkTank members tried to recruit Sarah Jane, highlighting how the new version mirrors that shadowy manipulation. The significance according to commentary. Continuity and lore. Reusing the ThinkTank name reinforces Doctor Who's deep ties to its history, showing that past adversaries' ideals linger and can re-emerge. Ideological echoes. The original ThinkTank clandestinely spread extremist agendas. The 2025 version echoes this through anti-unit activism and conspiratorial rhetoric. Musical resonance. Including a snippet of the original score creates a subconscious link, signaling to long-term fans the writer's intent. Meta-commentary. McTighe connects the nod to contemporary realities. Misinformation has become currency and distrust is rife. The vocal climax by the Doctor in Lucky Day reflects this, echoing classic-era fear of hidden conspiracies. In summary, the reintroduction of ThinkTank in Lucky Day isn't mere fan service. It's a deliberate narrative bridge. By reviving a classic-era extremist group name, echoing their ideology, and even using musical callbacks, the show acknowledges its storytelling lineage. It underscores that the societal concerns and conspiratorial threats first introduced in Robot are still highly relevant, and now reimagined for a modern audience. Well, I hope you enjoyed that analysis. Yes, not a digital voice. My subscription resets next week, so hopefully the next one will be clearer, faster, with less gasps. And now, an episode-by-episode synopsis. Warning, spoilers. Doctor Who, Robot, Episode 1, Synopsis. The episode begins in the unit laboratory, where the Doctor, now newly regenerated, lies semi-conscious. As he mumbles cryptic lines about brontosauruses and geometry, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and Sarah Jane Smith exchange puzzled glances. Harry Sullivan, serving as medical officer, arrives to assess the Doctor's condition. As Benton delivers routine reports, the Brigadier orders Harry to take personal charge of the Doctor, marking a shift in the Doctor's immediate support structure. The Doctor protests being confined to a bed, declaring, "I'm the Doctor." His playful defiance is evident when he karate chops a brick and skips a rope in the lab, testing his new body. He playfully debates Harry's use of Doctor versus Doctor, and amusingly puts himself on physical display, running in place, checking his heart rate with a stethoscope, before admiring himself in a mirror and settling into his iconic scarf and floppy hat. The Brigadier eventually persuades him to remain, reminding him that UNIT needs him, especially now that a top-secret weapon has gone missing. Meanwhile, at the Weapons Research Center, a heavy metallic creature made of living metal attacks a sentry, rips through electric fencing, and steals disintegrator gun schematics. This incident sets the stage for the central mystery, a formidable semi-intelligent robot capable of tunneling, breaking into secure sites, and removing sensitive technology. Sarah persuades the Brigadier to allow her access to ThinkTank, the secretive scientific research hub. With Harry ensuring the Doctor remains in his care, Sarah secures a visitor's pass and proceeds to meet ThinkTank's leaders, Hilda Winters and Arnold Jellicoe. They officially deny any ongoing robotics research since Professor Kettlewell departed, yet Sarah's instincts urge her to investigate further. This episode draws viewers into the web of intrigue surrounding ThinkTank, hinting at concealed projects and hidden agendas. At an Emmett's electronics factory in Essex, an expensive vault containing vital focusing generators is compromised. Despite UNIT's extensive security measures, including armed patrols and aerial surveillance, a drill-like attack from beneath breaches the vault. The Doctor speculates that something subterranean, something more than human perhaps, is responsible, noting disturbances like a crushed dandelion and distorted electric fences as clues pointing to a heavy, intelligent threat. Sarah, frustrated by official denials, visits Kettlewell's countryside home. There, an eccentric and withdrawn scientist claims he's turned away from robotics in favor of sustainable energy. Yet the presence of robotics equipment and a menacing atmosphere hint at suppressed work. Despite Kettlewell's protestations, Sarah leaves determined, passing through oil-slicked labs that suggest clandestine activity. The episode ends with Sarah sneaking back into ThinkTank, her visitor's pass still active, only to encounter the imposing hulking robot. Its multifaceted eye peers out at her as she stumbles into the shadowy robotics section. The robot's first words, "Who are you? Why are you here?" signal alarmingly that it possesses awareness and intelligence. Sarah recoils in shock, setting up an atmosphere of escalating threat and mystery. This opening episode establishes medical, military, and investigative dynamics as the Doctor regains his new identity. UNIT responds to a mysterious weapon heist, and Sarah Jane Smith's courage draws her closer to the core of the threat. The stage is set for a story of scientific ambition, ethical responsibility, and the emergence of a powerful, partially sentient robot. Episode 2. Sarah Jane narrowly escapes the robotics section after encountering the hulking robot. Hilda Winters feigns concern, calling it a little joke, arranged for Sarah's benefit. Jellicoe admits he deliberately activated the robot so Sarah could see it. It's a staged demonstration, yet far from amusing. When Sarah hesitates, Hilda presses the robot to destroy her. In a chilling moment, the robot begins to obey, then stops, stating, "I cannot obey. This order conflicts with my prime directive." Sarah notes its distress, and Hilda dismissively claims it has no feelings. But Sarah's compassion is clear. The robot is sentient and suffering emotional conflict. Back at UNIT, the Doctor is confronted by Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. The Doctor quickly deduces that if the robot were alien, it wouldn't need to steal disintegrated technology. Instead, they're facing a homegrown threat, anthropomorphic and violent. With Sarah and Harry arriving, Sarah reveals she's seen the robot in action, escalating Brigadier's concern. UNIT now knows the robotics section at ThinkTank is suspicious, and the Doctor suggests confronting Hilda and Jellicoe for answers. A short scene inside ThinkTank shows Jellicoe reassembling the robot. Hilda helps, noting that the robot seemed to miss Daddy, an emotional clue the Doctor will later explore. They test it with projector commands to destroy an enemy, but the robot's hesitation again underlines its internal conflict, driven by its built-in prime directive to never harm humans. At UNIT Lab, the Doctor builds a strange tower of knickknacks. Sarah urges immediate intervention at ThinkTank, but the Brigadier warns authorization would take too long. Call for more evidence. Meanwhile, Harry volunteers to infiltrate ThinkTank as an insider. The Doctor, still skeptical of timing, is keen to speak with Professor Kettlewell, the robotics author who has allegedly left ThinkTank to focus on solar batteries. Sarah and the Brigadier drive to Kettlewell's house. The Professor claims detachment from robotics since leaving the organization, but the Doctor quickly identifies a miscalculation in Kettlewell's solar battery notes, proof he's still involved in high-level experimental tech. When pressed about the robot, Kettlewell admits he intentionally dismantled his son, the robot, but suspects Hilda or Jellicoe preserved it. He fears that overriding its basic prime directive would destroy its mind. Back in UNIT Lab, Sarah reads a note dropped by Kettlewell. The robot is at his home, unstable and in need of help. She and Benton rush off to meet him, aware this could be a trap. At Kettlewell's home, the Doctor arrives to find the robot in distress. The robot accuses the Doctor of being an enemy of the human race. and declares its intent to destroy him, adding, "I do not wish to cause you unnecessary pain." It swings and misses while the Doctor tries reasoning with it, asking for its prime directive. The robot repeats it, "Must serve humanity and never harm it," yet insists the Doctor is its enemy. This episode further develops key themes: the robot's sentience, moral conflict, and emotional suffering, Kettlewell's paternal guilt, and Unit's cautious navigation of rogue technology. As emotional intelligence and ethical complexity continue to unfold, the stage is set for a tense confrontation ahead, where empathy, science, and diplomacy may outdo brute force. Episode 3. Sarah Jane arrives at Professor Kettlewell's house, alarmed by the carnage at the broken door entrance. She rushes to the back, where she finds the robot poised to stomp on the Doctor. Sarah's voice rings out, "No, you mustn't harm him." The robot, conflicted, declares the Doctor an enemy of humanity. Sarah pleads with the robot, reminding it of its past compassion when it spared her, and exposes the truth. Its programming has been tampered with by the SRS. The robot admits to confusion and pain. Suddenly, Benton and Unit soldiers burst in, opening fire. Bullets ricochet harmlessly off the robot's metallic body as it storms outside. Sarah consoles Benton, chastising him for the shooting, but Benton defends his actions, as the robot had clearly attacked the Doctor. They soon find Kettlewell, bound and gagged, cowering in a cupboard. Back at Unit HQ, Sarah nurses Kettlewell's head injury. He recounts how the robot, in a state of extreme distress, broke into his house. The SRS altered its circuitry to override its prime directive of non-violence, but did so at great cost to the robot's mental stability. Kettlewell describes his revolutionary invention, living metal, a self-regenerating virus-like alloy capable of recycling pollution. He reveals that he once joined the Scientific Reform Society out of idealism, but abandoned it after a disturbing meeting. Sarah proposes using Kettlewell's SRS membership to infiltrate their next gathering, armed with camera and tape recorder. Benton objects, worried about protocol and unit jurisdiction, but Sarah defends their autonomy. "If we're not under arrest, it's our choice." Kettlewell agrees, and Benton warns them of the risks. At Unit, the Brigadier confronts Benton for allowing Sarah and Kettlewell to leave. Just then the Doctor enters, fully rested, having spent time processing everything. He outlines the conspiracy. Stolen disintegrator plans and control circuitry were used to break into an arsenal of nuclear missile launch codes, specifically those held by Cabinet Minister Joseph Chambers in a Dynastream safe. Their threat? Global blackmail and nuclear autumn. Unit scrambles and locates a signal. Sarah and Kettlewell have infiltrated an SRS meeting. Meanwhile, Harry Sullivan attempts to escape ThinkTank but disappears, likely captured by SRS agents. Unit tracks the SRS convoy to an underground bunker. Their demands? They hold Sarah and Harry hostage and have 30 minutes to acquiesce before they launch the missile codes and trigger a worldwide disaster. As Unit advances, automated gun emplacements open fire when targets detected by body heat breach perimeter defenses. Benton neutralizes the nests. The Brigadier orders a coordinated assault. Inside the bunker's storeroom, Jellicoe and Hilda Winters prepare the robot for a final assault. They arm it with the disintegrator weapon, intending to unleash it on Unit troops. Sarah and Harry, bound and helpless, watch as the robot is deployed to the entrance. Outside, the Brigadier orders his forces to fall back. The Doctor, stepping forward, uses his sonic screwdriver as a lance to cut the lock on the bunker's heavy doors. As they open, a lone Unit marksman fires at the robot, but the robot incinerates him instantly with its weapon. A tank arrives and opens fire, only to be atomized. The sheer power of the robot is terrifying. As the invasion force stalls, the robot calls out, "Go! Go now, or I will destroy you all!" The episode ends on a chilling cliffhanger, with humanity overmatched and the robot turned into an unstoppable weapon. This episode masterfully escalates the stakes. Unit is now under siege, the robot is a dangerous tool of terror, and Professor Kettlewell's trust in his creation and his own ideal is on the brink. The ethical and emotional stakes are higher than ever, setting the stage for the final confrontation. Episode 4. Inside the bunker, Hilda Winters and Jellicoe oversee the countdown of the destructor codes while Professor Kettlewell, tension etched across his face, questions the morality of launching missiles. Hilda coldly insists, "We shall fire the missiles," shocking Kettlewell into compliance. He reluctantly starts the countdown as the display ticks past 299. In the storeroom, Sarah and Harry work quietly to free themselves. They exchange focused whispers as the clock winds on toward catastrophe, every second bringing humanity closer to annihilation. Outside, unit troops steel themselves for a confrontation. The Brigadier asks the Doctor about the robot's capabilities. The Doctor warns that the robot's disintegrator gun is near limitless, able to drill a hole in the surface of the moon. They agree to launch a diversion, draw the robot away while the Doctor and Benton cut the bunker lock from behind. Inside, as the countdown nears 87, Kettlewell suddenly snaps, unable to bear the moral weight. He pushes away from the console, smashes it, and confronts Jellicoe with a chair. Harry subdues Jellicoe and knocks him unconscious. Kettlewell halts the countdown at 58 by inputting hold codes. Sarah and Harry emerge into the corridor, united and relieved. Outside, the Doctor ushers Sarah and the Brigadier through the angled doorway. The robot appears, tense. Sarah pleads, "There, the enemy's in there!" The robot is torn. It beams its disintegrator. The robot, horrified, cries, "I have killed the one who created me," then collapses. The unit enters the bunker. Inside, Hilda tries restarting the countdown to regain control, but the Doctor intercepts her. The countdown halts at 2. Sarah, Benton and Harry restrain Hilda and Jellicoe. Outside the bunker, units search the grounds, but the robot and Sarah are missing. The Doctor and Brigadier realize the robot fled, likely traumatized, seeking the one being who showed it kindness, Sarah. Meanwhile, deep in bunker corridors, Sarah implores the robot to stop. The robot justifies its purge. "Mankind is not worthy to survive. You alone will be saved." He urges her to follow it out. Back at Kettlewell's house, the Doctor works on a metal virus, the antidote to the robot's living metal alloy. He prepares a bubbling orange solution as Harry looks on. Unit informs him the robot is back at the bunker with Sarah, and Sarah begins coaxing the robot outside. In a tense moment, Sarah emerges, followed by the robot. The Brigadier instructs no firing until he spots the Doctor ready with the virus. The Brigadier tries to neutralize the robot using the disintegrator, with a plan to weaken it, make it vulnerable. Instead, the robot grows, its living metal expanding with the energy. Now, the robot, hulking and towering, holds Sarah aloft like a protective beast, until Benton orders heavy weaponry. As the threat escalates, the Doctor and Harry arrive in Bessie. The Doctor splashes the virus solution over the robot's legs. The orange spreads quickly upward, reversing its massive growth. The robot shrinks, collapses, and dissolves into nothing, its tragic story ending. The rescue complete, they return to Unit Lab. Sarah, solemn and shaken, reflects on the robot's humanity. The Doctor offers a jelly baby, musing, "The robot was a wonderful creature capable of great good and great evil." Sarah nods, recognizing its complexity. The Doctor defies expectations. While the Brigadier awaits palace-level formalities, he instead chooses adventure. He insists on being childish sometimes, and invites Sarah and Harry for a little trip in the TARDIS. They step aboard, the TARDIS dematerializes, sealing the end of this poignant chapter and the start of new adventures. This episode concludes a powerful arc, a deeply sympathetic yet dangerous robot, the ethical limits of scientific idealism, and the Doctor's unwavering moral compass. I hope you enjoyed this analysis and synopsis of Doctor Who Robot. Thank you for watching.